Welcome, Bearcats and parents, back to Jackson Square as we get ready to look at our Chapter 5 on equivalent expressions. The first thing we're going to be looking at is the order of operation. So when we are thinking about the order of operation, we want to think of it as building blocks. As we have our stack of building blocks, we want to come through and knock them down to make sure we are following the proper order of operation. So we start with G, which is for grouping symbols, which includes parentheses, brackets, and braces. Then we have E, which is for exponents. We have our step with two blocks, which is multiplication or division, which goes from left to right, or as we like to say, first come, first serve. And then our last level is addition or subtraction, again from left to right, first come, first serve. So let's review those grouping symbols again. Remember, grouping symbols include parentheses, brackets, or braces, any of these three. And whenever we have an expression or an equation that has more than one grouping symbol, we always work from the inside out. So if I was working this problem, I would start with the inside set of parentheses, and then I would work my way to the outside. So I would add 8 plus 4 first, and then I would take that answer after I squared my 10 and subtracted from the square of 10 to get that before I multiplied it on the outside. Today we're going to focus on exponents. Exponents, we have two parts. You have the base and you have the actual exponent or power. You read this as 3 raised to the 4th power. Things we need to remember about exponents. Number 1, exponents are repeated multiplication. Repeated multiplication, not repeated addition. We also want to make sure that we never, ever, 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 ever multiply the base times the exponent. That is not what exponents are about. The exponent tells me how many times to multiply this base number times itself. How many times should I multiply the base times itself? So 3 raised to the 4th power means I'm going to have 4 3's multiplied times itself. So 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. And you only multiply 2 numbers at a time to make sure that you're doing your work properly. So 3 times 3 is going to give me 9, and 3 times 3 over here will also give me 9. And then I multiply these two 9's together, and the answer is going to be 81. So 3 to the 4th power is 81. It is not 18. It is not addition. And it is not 12. We do not multiply the base times the power. Never, ever, 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 ever do that, please. And then we know our final 2 steps are multiplication and addition, and they both go from left to right, or like I said, first come, first serve. We always have to make sure we knock out the grouping block, knock out the exponent block, and then we get to the multiplication or division. We have to knock out that block before we go to addition or subtraction. So here, when I look at this problem, if I see multiplication or division, I'm going to do whichever one or either one I have first. So here, I would multiply 6 times 4 first. That would be the first thing I would do. Next, in this next problem, as I go through, I would still have to take out my multiplication or division first. First come, first serve. That means as I'm walking down this block, if I see multiplication or division, whichever one is first, that's what I would work first. So here I see division, addition, and multiplication. I'm going to take care of the division first because that's the first one I get to. So the first thing I would work is my division. Then after I take care of my division, I would go and do my multiplication. Then once I'm done with multiplication or division step, I can go to my last part, which is addition or subtraction. So the last step or my third step in this problem would be to add these two products or quotients together to get my answer. So tonight's homework was on exponents. If you don't remember, there's a little set of characters here who are telling you what an exponent is, how to read an exponent, and how to solve these problems. So I'm just going to jump right in and start looking at a few of the problems. Here we have 4 raised to the first power. That means that I would have 4 would only be multiplied times itself once, which 4 times itself, you would only have 1 4. So 4 to the first power would be 4. Here we have 12 to the 0 power, or 12 raised to the 0. 12 raised to the 0, as you guys may remember from the video, when we're talking about positives and negatives, when you start talking about negative exponents, you're talking about dividing by that power. And when we talk about 0, we're talking about 12 being divided by 12, which would give us an answer of 1. Anything raised to the 0 power is always going to be 1. 5 to the 0 is 1. 3 to the 0 is 1. A million to the 0 power is 1 because you're dividing that number by itself. So you're going to get 1. Let's step it up a notch on number 6. Number 11, we have 6 raised to the 3rd power, or 6 cubed. So what does 6 cubed mean? Again, we do not multiply the base times the exponent. We are going to use the exponent to tell me how many times to multiply the base times itself. And I cannot seem to get this sticky note to be straight for anything. So there. 6 to the 3rd power means I'm going to multiply 6 times itself 3 times. I have 3 6s. And again, it is not repeated addition. It is repeated multiplication. I know that 6 times 6 is 36. And I'm going to bring down this 6 times 6. 36 times 6 will give me 216. 6 to the 3rd power is 216. Let's take a second and look at 2 raised to the 6th power, number 12. 2 raised to the 6th power. Again, never, ever, ever multiply the base times the exponent. This exponent tells me I'm going to multiply 2 times itself 6 times. So 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. And I'm going to only take 2 numbers at a time because that's all I can work with. 2 times 2 is going to give me 4. And 2 times 2 is going to give me 4. And 2 times 2 is going to give me 4. And again, we are still multiplying these together. Then 4 times 4 is going to give me 16. I'm going to bring down this 4. And then I will have 16 times 4, which is going to give me 64. So 2 to the 6th power is 64. It is not 12. 2 to the 6th power is 64. I hope that this has been a helpful video for some of you, or most of you, and you have a better understanding